If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. The Opperman Report is brought to you by aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119. Thank you so much for listening to the Opperman Report. I want to welcome all our new listeners at WWPR 1490 AM in the Tampa Bay area. We're brand new down here. We're getting a nice warm welcome. We have great advertising opportunities for local sponsors, local businesses, but also international websites and international companies too on our other stations in California, Nevada, Utah, and on the internet worldwide. But down here in Tampa Bay, Florida, we have some great opportunities for you to come in and get very, very affordable advertising rates. Get a hold of me at oppermanreport@gmail.com and we'll cut you a good deal. Emailrevealer.com. People ask me all the time, hey Ed, are you still a private investigator? I sure am. Go to emailrevealer.com. We handle adoption investigations, infidelity investigations, where you give us your spouse's email address. We trace it back to online dating websites, catch them cheating online. Email tracing, locate or identify somebody from as little as an anonymous email address. Someone owe you money? Back child support? We can find that deadbeat, locate his hidden assets, locate his hidden bank accounts, find his current place of employment, and even assist you in obtaining a judgment and recover that judgment for you. Emailrevealer.com. Digital forensics, computer forensics, cell phone forensics, recover deleted text messages. Create a report that you can use in court. Emailrevealer.com, 800-572-9762.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can find me at my website, emailrevealer.com, at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting. Or you can just email me directly at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. If you like the show today, be sure and check out our Patreon. Okay, you go to Opperman Report Patreon, and I put up about 16 hours of content each month up on Patreon. Half is free, the stuff you hear on AM/FM radio without the ads. We cut the ads out. And the other 8 hours is exclusive content that you can only find there on Patreon. But you should check it out because I put a lot of free stuff up there too. Things in the news and stuff. I just put up the Matt Gaetz press conference video up there. It's so funny. But our archives are always free. You can find them at Spreaker.com. You go to Spreaker.com, you sign up for free, you get an email notification anytime we put up new content, and there's also a chat room so you could chat with other listeners. Our guest today is a Las Vegas local. Her name is Renee Jean. She's written several books. You can find her website at writingforces.com. And she wrote a book, the one we're talking about today, is Just Deal With It, because she's like a dealer in the Las Vegas casinos. Renee Jean, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So tell us about yourself. Who is Renee Jean?
Kind of an ADD, travel-addicted, baking-obsessed casino dealer who likes to write books to express all the voices in her head.
And you've written a bunch of books, right? Tell us about some of the other books before we get to Just Deal With It.
I do have a suspense. It was my debut novel and came out in 2014 called Never Give Up, and it chronicles a young professional ballerina in Chicago who suffers injuries at a near-fatal car accident, and it follows both her story of attempted recovery as well as the investigation into the accident back and forth until the two stories come together at the end. And then I have a series, 5-book series, with the last one coming out this September called the Sharing Strength series, and it focuses on different aspects of PTSD.
Yeah, I should get that one, because I tell you all the subjects I deal with on the show here. You know, today's a fun topic, but I deal with some pretty heavy stuff, and I find myself suffering sometimes a little PTSD.
Well, it's definitely common. It's a lot more common than people think, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to write about it, so that people would understand just how many people out there suffer, and not just military, although definitely a large group, but there's so many people that get it from so many different areas that I wanted to make sure those people knew they weren't alone, they were seen, and let other people know just how common it is.
Now, how about you? In your work as a casino dealer, do you think you suffer any PTSD from that?
No, just a lot of heavy entertainment, I think, from being a dealer, but in a way it's very therapeutic, because a lot of people who do suffer with PTSD, such as myself, we struggle many times to be socially active, and I have found that performance aspect of being on this tiny little stage in front of my players and interacting with them kind of forces me out of that mindset, and it allows me to be happy and be fun and do things that a lot of times when you're struggling with as anxieties, it seems almost impossible to do. So it's been a very, very good job for me.
How long have you been doing it?
This will be my 11th year as a dealer.
And all in Las Vegas?
Yes, all in Las Vegas, although several casinos. I've moved around a little bit as I've learned and grown.
So what are we going to find in the book Just Deal With It?
There are a number of different stories, different people that I've, had to look over at other dealers and go, you saw that, right? Or just situations that you just can't believe would happen, not only in general, but especially in a casino. Funny interactions, things people say that you just go, wow, really? Or you don't even necessarily realize they're so common, and dealers just look at you and go, oh my God, I've heard that 50,000 times today.
Yeah, that's it. People come to Vegas and they kind of just lose their mind. They'll wear clothes they would never wear anywhere else.
I've always said somewhere in the airport there is a store for women that only tourists can find, and it sells the shortest, tightest dresses and the highest heels imaginable. And there's some sort of Jedi mind trick that tells these women as they get off the plane, all women in Vegas dress like this, because I've never seen this store, but I live here. Yeah, so I think it's invisible to locals.
What do you think that is? Because when you watch TV shows, especially after you move to Vegas, and you watch all the old Vegas TV shows, and one of the things that always strikes me the most is they'll have that scene of driving down the Strip. But then they'll have they're driving by the Four Queens, you know what I mean? And then
I love those.
Yeah, they mix it all up, you know what I mean? They got downtown, then they got the Strip and downtown again, like you're driving along or walking along, like you're gonna walk all that way.
And I love seeing Vegas Vacation with Chevy Chase, and back when they would go and look at different things that they've either been paved over or imploded now, and there's something completely different, and you just go, oh yeah, I remember when that was a thing.
But that's a perfect example, too, because they have that scene where they go to the Neon Museum down there, and they're dancing up on the stuff. You can never do that. That's insane.
Oh, no, and it wasn't even a Neon Museum then. It was just kind of a pile of stuff.
That's
but
right.
now it's an actual place to go and see Tim Burton exhibits. So...
Yeah, the town has changed a great deal. I've been there. I was there for 20 years, from 2000 until 2019. I moved away, or 2020. I moved away, as a matter of fact, right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Fun times to move.
Yeah, I know. Well, how's it going down there with are the casinos open? What's going on with that?
Everything is open now. We're at 50% capacity. Although we've been so busy, I'm sure, obviously, to not get fined or anything, we're not exceeding that, but it's looked like a Saturday every single day for the past month with March Madness. It's just been crazy, and it's so nice to see. Every now and then I find myself kind of like tearing up a little bit, because it's just so nice to see my beautiful city coming back and rebounding the way that we hoped it would, even though we don't have the conventions back yet and the shows are just starting to open. But it's just nice to feel normal again.
So I guess you're wearing a mask. Are you wearing gloves too?
We have the option. Okay. I prefer to just use the hand sanitizer because I deal roulette a lot, and it's really difficult to spin that ball with the gloves on.
Yeah, I could imagine. Now, what about the cards? Do they change the cards more often now?
The cards, it depends on the game, how often they change them. For a long time, the players couldn't touch them. It was only the dealers. And since the dealers wore gloves or used hand sanitizer in between dealers, they weren't changing them quite as often. Now that we're finally allowing the players to touch the cards again, or allowing people to, like the dealers, to change them more often or touch them more often without the gloves, they're starting to change them back on a regular schedule again. But it all depends on the casino. Every casino has their own policy and kind of how they're doing it. General guidelines, but everybody has their own kind of way of doing it, just to make sure that we all stay within the CDC guidelines, and then can also accommodate the style and type of players that we have. If you have more baccarat players, they're going to want to touch the cards. If you have more blackjack, they're not as picky about it. So it just depends on the players mostly, and kind of making sure that you accommodate both health and safety as well as comfort and entertainment.
So what's the funniest story we're going to find in Just Deal With It?
My personal funniest one is probably the one that inspires me to tell people don't lick the dealer.
Okay.
And there is a story that fully explains that, but suffice it to say that you're not really supposed to touch the dealer regardless. It's kind of a hand-free zone, but it is amazing the amount of times people find creative and interesting ways to try to shake our hands or give us a hug, or other interesting ways of showing affection and appreciation for the dealers.
And how did the licking come about?
I had a player one day that was I was on roulette, one of my favorite games, and I was full table paying all the colors, and the guy right next to me had a tendency to kind of squeeze my hand, which you're not supposed to do, but it wasn't intrusive. And so I would just kind of, hey, remember not to do that. I went to pay him on the one hit, the one number where everybody on the table was betting it, and so it was that big celebration party. I pushed his stacks of checks over to him, and he grabbed my hand like he was going to squeeze it again or shake it, and turned my hand over and licked my palm.
And did he explain why he did that?
He never did. No, well, at least not to me.
Okay.
My floorman appeared as if by magic, pushed me out of the pit and told me to go to the bathroom and wash my hands. And by the time I got back, he had the table shut down.
Wow.
He's like, no, everybody cashed out. We're closing this table down. I'm like, okay. So if he did explain the motivation on that one, it was to my boss, not to me.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, what is the reason behind not being able to touch the dealer?
A lot of it is just propriety, making sure that nobody's trying to slip anything to the dealer or sending any signals for cheating. A lot of it has to do with that, and those are a lot of old school old Vegas rules. But it's just a matter of, I think, keeping that, not distance, but a sense of separation between player and dealer of, I guess, professionalism. I think is the way it's kind of viewed now, is even though, yeah, we're buddy-buddy at the table, this is still, it's my job and I need to be here to do a job. So it doesn't want to seem inappropriate to the eye in the sky.
Gotcha. And what is the proper etiquette for tipping the dealer?
There are so many schools of thought on that. No matter what, it's greatly appreciated. I know some people who, they have a set amount. If I hit this amount, then I'll tip the dealer when I leave. Or, they like to bet. That's the most common style is, all right, I'm betting $20 on blackjack, and I'm going to put $1 or $2 in front. So when I win, you win. And
right.
It kind of brings the dealer in as like, we're here, we're doing this as a team. That's the most common. Some people just, hey, I hit a blackjack or a jackpot or something, and so I'll just give a portion of that back. Regardless of what the mentality is of how you want to do it, it's just a very greatly appreciated thing, because it is the majority of where we get our paychecks from, is from the people who come to see us and take care of us.
And the dealers want to see the players win.
Of course. I mean, everybody has those days where somebody's doing something crazy and being drunk and being annoying to all the other players, and those are the people we don't necessarily want you to lose. We just don't want you to win on our table.
What? So you say
we still want you to win, because we want everybody to have a good time. We don't want people that get drunk and obnoxious and annoy everybody else at the table.
Drunk? So, people get drunk? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Oh, people get drunk all the time, and I support that. I will call the cocktail waitress for you, but if you're getting to the point where you're scaring off everybody else at the table, that's when we're like, have you thought about like a glass of water? But no, of course whether win or lose, the most important thing is we want everybody to have a good time. And, if you lose that hand, let's try and get it back. We're going to have to stand at that table for an hour at a time, 8 hours a day. We want you to have fun, because if you have fun, we're having more fun with you. And if we're paying you and you're winning and everybody's having a good time, then we're not going to stand there and be bored and jealous of all the other dealers who have something to do.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. People who don't live in Vegas don't realize a lot of times the dealer's just standing there. There's no one at the table. They're just waiting for someone to show up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's entire shifts of dealers that work either super early in the morning or extremely late at night, where either people haven't gotten up yet or they've already gone to bed after the club or seeing a show, and they just stand there and kind of hope somebody wanders through with a cup of coffee and sits down to talk to them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's called crossfiring. We're not allowed to talk to each other. So you can be 3 dealers in the same pit, no players at all, but you can't turn to each other and talk to pass the time. You just have to stand there and wait for somebody to come and talk to you. And so we want you to win. We want you to want to play, because that's what helps us pass the time too and have a good time when we're at work.
What is the worst thing, the worst drunken, alcohol-related incident you've dealt with? Or the funniest?
The worst one was somebody, unfortunately, starting an actual physical fight at the table. Luckily, security was there, and it was handled very quickly, but it was just somebody was too drunk. Somebody said the wrong thing trying to be funny. It was taken the wrong way, and it started an actual fight. The funniest thing was probably the guy that fell asleep.
Okay. That could have been me.
Okay. He was playing one of the versions of blackjack, and he was staring at the cards. He was the only person at the table, and he was trying to figure out if he wanted to hit or split or stand or what he wanted to do, and he just fell asleep in the middle of deciding. And I was very, very new to being a dealer at the time, and I had no idea what to do. So I got my boss, and she gently woke him up, and then they closed that table because it was later at night and moved me to another table that had a shuffle machine.
Okay.
And I had another drunk lady on that same table and she was saying that she plays better when she's drunk, and I decided to make the joke that it might be funny to make the shuffle machine drunk so it would spit out better cards.
Yeah.
And she decided that was a really good idea, and she dumped her entire glass of wine into my shuffle machine.
You're kidding me.
No, again, I was very new. I did not realize that when people get that drunk, they think it's a good idea, not a joke. So that was an interesting night.
Now, you mentioned that there was a fist fight at one of your tables. How about, especially at the blackjack table, where you make a bad move, right? You ask for a card you shouldn't have asked for it, or you didn't ask for a card when you should have asked for it, and then the next 10 hands, the guy next to you's going, "See, that would have been my card. That would have been my card." You know what I mean?
The passive-aggressive arguments on blackjack are legendary. We are trained as dealers to attempt to diffuse that, if at all possible. That would have been your card, but look, now you've got a 20. You would have only had 17 or something like that. Kind of point it out, even until eventually they just let it go. But sometimes you do get people that hold on to stuff like that. Either somebody's new and they took a card maybe they shouldn't have hit against a bus card, or split their tens, which is when the dealer really should be like, are you sure? Like, are you really sure? Are you sure you're sure? But if they want to do it, we have to let them. And a lot of people don't realize that we're not getting these people to try to make the rest of the table lose. These aren't working. They're not working for the casino. They're not somebody that we kind of signaled like, hey, the table's winning too much. We don't want that to happen either. That's why we ask them so many times, but we can't stop them. Mm. We have to let them play, even if it's against the book or completely insane. I'm going to double down my hard 14. Really?
Yeah. But the thing is,
I like to tell people, if I have to tell my boss what you're doing, it's probably not the right move. Mm. If I'm going, hey, we got somebody doubling down on a hard 12, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
But there are people who think that they're playing against the dealer, right?
There are a lot of people that think that the dealers are, dealing for the house, and we're against them, and it's team us versus team you. And I'm sure if you get, unfortunately, the dealer that's been dealing for 40 years and they're 6 months from retirement, it might feel that way. But I'm very fortunate that I've worked with many, many amazing dealers, people who've been in 6 months, people who've been with Vegas since it was mob run, and still tell you stories about those days. And they're all very good. And they love what they do. They love interacting with the players, teaching people new games. It's a lot of fun what we do, and we're very, very lucky to get to do it.
What about people with gambling addictions? Do you have some locals you see all the time? And
I work on the Strip now, so I see less of them. We do still have regulars because the poker room has regulars, and some of the baccarat games have regulars, but I see a lot less of the locals now than I used to. But I have worked in local casinos, and you'd see people that were there when you got there. They were still there when you left, and you were pretty sure they were there on your days off, too. Mm. I don't know if they were necessarily gambling addicted or if that's just their version of social hour. Because some of the casinos that I've worked in, they're in more of like the retirement areas, and right. A lot of the people were older, and they would show up and they'd play $5 blackjack for 6 or 7 hours, but mostly they were just wandering between tables talking and catching up with other people. So you'd deal to them and then take a little break, and they'd wander off and go talk to somebody or have the buffet and come back, and you knew them and their kids and their grandkids. Mm. So even though they were there every day, I think it was more just their version of social interaction.
So let me ask you this. I found you because I saw that you just did a book signing over at Joe Max over there at on Spencer and St. Rose Parkway. How did that go?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. It was nice to be out again. Mm. It was the first signing that I've had in about a year and a half. And another author that's part of the now, I guess, less prolific but still in existence coffee house tours. There used to be a lot more of us, and we used to have signings pretty much every weekend. But there's still a number of us that go out to the coffee shops when available and sign, and it was so much fun because this was the first run back, and I got to work with another author that I adore, Stephen Murray. And then two of our other author members of the group came in just to say hi and have a cup of coffee and give quick fist bumps or air hugs because social distancing. But it was nice to see everybody and to have a cup of coffee, to talk to new people about the books or just about what brought them into the coffee shop that day, and just kind of our own version of social hour.
Yeah, that's the Joe Max over there on Spencer in St. Rose. I used to live right across the street, and I would go there for coffee first thing. I'd be the first customer there every single morning for years. I was the first one there.
You got up early.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I get up early, especially back in those days. And sometimes I'd even be there before they'd show up late, I'd be there waiting for her, And actually, the girls who worked there in the morning cried when I moved away. They were crying that day, my last day at Joe Max. But I definitely do endorse their coffee. Great stuff. We're talking today with Renee Jean. Okay, she's written many, many books. You can find her on Amazon.com. It's Combat, Crash, Fish, Never Give Up. But we're talking about the book Just Deal With It. You can find her at her website, writingforces.com. Now, Renee, you were telling us before we went on the air that you have a charity bike ride coming up?
I do. I'm training for, it's called Ride 22 on 66. I will be very strongly challenging myself to ride Route 66 from Chicago all the way to Santa Monica on my bicycle over the course of 22 days, symbolizing the 22 veterans a day who commit suicide because of PTSD. But I am working with 5 different charities, one for each of the books in my Sharing Strength series. And right now I'm just getting into the training, so I'm on my bike almost every day if I'm not locked to the computer writing a new book.
Well, that's great. I can't wait to see that. I guess people can keep up with that on writingforces.com, and you'll probably have an announcement on there?
There will be an announcement. I'm meeting with my team tomorrow, actually, to finalize kind of how we're doing the official announcements and starting a monthly newsletter and everything, and all of that will be available on the website. It'll be probably updated by the end of the month with a whole section that also has the fundraising links and everything else to help support those charities. And then you'll be able to follow my progress through training and getting ready for the ride as well.
And how many days will it take you to ride from Chicago to Santa Monica?
I am riding the 2,346 miles in just 22 days. 22 days.
You know what? We should give me updates each night. You call in, we'll record it like a minute each night, and then we'll play it all in one day. When you get there, we'll play it all at once. Okay, we'll be right back.
Definitely doing a blog and Facebook Live as well, so I can definitely do that.
Excellent. So we're talking to Renee Jean. The book is Just Deal With It. And now a word from our sponsors. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an aquadam can do the job. An aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119. Thank you so much for listening to the Opperman Report. I want to welcome all our new listeners at WWPR 1490 AM in the Tampa Bay area. We're brand new down here. We're getting a nice warm welcome. We have great advertising opportunities for local sponsors, local businesses, but also international websites and international companies too on our other stations in California, Nevada, Utah, and on the internet worldwide. But down here in Tampa Bay, Florida, we have some great opportunities for you to come in and get very, very affordable advertising rates. Get a hold of me at oppermanreport@gmail.com and we'll cut you a good deal.
Before Epstein was the Franklin cover-up. Before that, the Finders. And long before that, the Cleveland Street Scandal. Pedogate Primer is a concise intro and overview of a growing child abuse epidemic worldwide. It features shocking instances of institutionalized and organizational pedophilia throughout history. Churches, cults, the world of arts and entertainment, the government, NGOs, charities, and major corporations are all complicit or culprits in many instances. Pedogate Primer delves into material that for many may seem like the stuff of conspiracy theories. For this reason, the book draws on academic resources, declassified documents, and other reliable sources, and steers clear of conjecture. Such shocking true stories need no embellishment.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can find me here Monday to Friday, 5 nights a week with brand new content each night of the week, AM/FM radio. Otherwise, you can go check out our Patreon at Opperman Report Patreon. We put up an additional, 8 hours of content, brand new each month, plus the content you hear here, we put up over there with no ads. You can listen to it for ad-free. Plus, I always put up free stuff too, all kinds of documents and things constantly. Almost every day I'll put up something new for free. So if you become a member, then you get a notification anytime I put something up. We're thinking about like a little $1 tier just to keep up with what I add there, the free documents and stuff. But our archives are always free. You can find them at Spreaker.com. And if you go there and search for Phillip Fairbanks, you can find our guest today. He's been on at least twice before. He's written this book called Pedogate Primer, The Politics of Pedophilia. And he also advertises this book on our show here. So if you go out and buy the book, you also help support the show. You can check him out too at his website, philipfairbanks.com. And his Twitter account is Kafka Guy. And he's always putting up great content over there on Twitter every night. Mr. Phillip Fairbanks, are you there?
Yeah. Great to be back.
Yeah, so good to have you back, my friend. So can you remind the audience who is Phillip Fairbanks?
Well, I'm a writer. Been in print since I think '99 was my first print publication. Various publications from the UK and Australia, literary magazine, newspapers, this and that. But one thing that I write a lot about is institutional pedophilia and elite pedophilia in elite circles. Cases like Epstein, of course, but also stuff like the Franklin scandal or the Beast of Belgium and similar cases like that, all throughout Europe and the UK and things. But yeah, so this is a topic that I've been writing and researching about for, I guess, most of my life at this point now. And it's definitely not a fun topic to deal with, and but at the same time, I believe that that's the reason why it's important to bring up some of this stuff, because people don't want to think about it, and that's how it happens. under the cover and cloak of secrecy, terrible deeds are done, and a lot of the time it's we're complicit in our silence.
Yeah.
If we allow this just to happen, and say nothing and ignore it, that's what happened with the Epstein case, and or even like with the Harvey Weinstein and the Me Too movement. Something comes to a head eventually, but that just exposes this grand machinery. One of the things I mentioned in the Epstein chapter is like the I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but a Forbes writer, $600 he was paid to take a press release written by Epstein's people and put that with his byline under it at Forbes. So now it's a Forbes news story. It's not a puff PR piece by Jeffrey Epstein's people. But yeah, or like the person who was fired for leaking the hot mic footage where the ABC News anchor was talking about how she was so upset that they had a scoop on Epstein related to Virginia Giuffre, but the royal wedding was also coming up, so we can't talk about Prince Andrew's. But
Tell us about the CPS.
Right, yeah. It's been reported in Arizona Central and Austin's NPR station have both done stories about, the massive amount of kids that just disappear from CPS, from Child Protective Services and social services and foster homes. And, and it's not reported in a lot of these cases. It's something like 18,000 kids in the U.S. each year, on average, just disappear from social services.
Well, Philip, I got to tell you, it's way more than that. Cause I think
can't be that many kids that disappear.
I think it's way more than that, because I think we have that much down here in Florida. I seen a report.
Right.
And there was also a report, too, that a whole bunch of kids, like 18,000 or 30,000, didn't return to school last year. Okay? So, epidemic problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the kids that, it's the most vulnerable kids, whether it's in troubled homes or foster homes.
Let me ask you this, Phil. Do you have a telephone I can call? Do you have a phone
where are the Amber Alerts?
Wait, Phil.
Some kids fall.
Do you have a phone number I can call?
Crap. Over. I can call you from Skype on your phone number.
Oh, no, but do you have a phone number I can call? Because Skype is no good over there. Skype is not working. I can say right now. Send it to me in the chat box, okay? We'll try calling on the phone. Okay, there you go. And what's this? Okay, Zooks. I think we're under some serious surveillance at the moment, Phil. Okay. All right, let me try calling you up on this, all right? Bye. Okay, bye. All right, and we're back with Philip Fairbanks. We had some trouble with the lines. I guess we were talking about some things that people don't like us to talk about. But Philip, we were talking about CPS and the number of, you were saying 18,000 kids missing cross country, and I said it had to be way more than that, because I think we have that much in Florida alone. What did you find out?
Yeah, exactly. Well, the issue with the number, part of it is so many of the kids aren't reported missing. So we don't know, it's more than 18,000, and a lot of the policies like Arizona, even if it is reported, after 6 months, if they don't find the kid, they close up the books. And, it's the same issue that law enforcement agents who, have gotten burnt out, who have to deal with, investigations into child porn say, they're overworked, the caseloads are huge, they've got little time and resources, and, not to mention the psychological toll that it takes if you are, in that line of work, and you're exposed to, just the most vicious and horrible things, because, from what I've heard, child porn's always wrong. Whether it's the nude and non-nude stuff by like David Hamilton that somehow flies into the DOS radar and ends up on Walmart.com and Amazon, or the most hardcore torture porn. It's the tastes have shifted in the current in the previous years. I think because people are becoming more just hardened by the ubiquity of porn materials, and the child porn is getting harder. And so if you're a law enforcement agent, let's say you got a family or something, it's going to take a toll on you.
Yeah, it seems too. I keep hearing about these new cases now where the child porn websites are torturing infants is the new extreme fetish.
Yeah, exactly. Hurtcore, I think I've heard it called. Yeah.
Now, you never heard of that 20 years ago.
Yeah. There was what's his name? Peter Scully is a famous case, the Australian who was busted in the Philippines and was selling, videos all over the world. And yes, it involved just absolute. There was definite, cases of just absolute torture of children. Like not even like sometimes it's not even so much the sexual thing as it's more about the control and hurting a child. I can't fathom it. I do empathize though with some of the folks that have to actually do that job, because just writing the book I wrote, for months and months. I've written about this kind of topics for years, which is why I picked it to do a long form piece on. But it's different when you're spending 10 to 12 hours a day for months, with most of your time spent focused on this. You ever see FOIA documents in your dreams? You see like the redacted lines of type and stuff. They call that the Tetris effect, I guess. But like that happened to me. I was having insomnia and nightmares, and that's just me reading about this stuff. I can't imagine actually having to just sit all day in a room and be exposed to that kind of material.
Yeah, there was that other story too about that other musician that was molesting and torturing babies. Ian Watkins, it was, and I had his I had his girlfriend on the show, who was his girlfriend at the time, who turned him in. Okay, first she was turning a blind eye because she was in an abusive relationship as well too, but turned him in, and they let it go on, and they covered it up and let it go on. It's turned out recently that she was proven correct that she did actually turn him in, and they let it continue.
And he was doing just absolutely like, raping a kid is bad, but like some of what some folks are getting into, it's beyond that. It's just like a whole nother level. But yeah, and speaking of musicians, using their position, because he would find like groupies, and then he would get them to turn over their kids to him. Sometimes they were toddlers. There's Davi Vanity, Blood on the Dance Floor. That guy's still running free. And, numerous girls have come out, and numerous people who knew him said, yeah, he would, and then we'd see a 12 or 13-year-old girl get on the tour bus with him, So, like, lots of people knew. It's been pretty much an open secret for about a decade now, and he's still, he still hasn't seen justice. So yeah, I don't know if it's money, connections, or what, but a lot of these cases, especially if you're connected to the military or intelligence community, like thousands of the folks who were netted by Project Flickr were never. They weren't cross-checked. Nobody went to their supervisors. Grassley was talking about that. We don't know what went wrong. Congress didn't even, wasn't even privy to it. So that's like the level of kind of obfuscation that DOD has over their justice system. They run it. The state's got a monopoly on justice. So of course, certain of their own are going to walk free.
Yeah, Jared Fogle was another one, the Subway spokesperson who was contacting women, single mothers, and asking to have sex with their kids. And that's how he got caught.
Oh,
ultimately.
yeah.
But
And also had one of the worst things in the world is like when you run a charity for kids and it's a front, which is what he was doing. And there was abuse of children and production of child porn at his quote unquote charity. So he was earning a tax break for abusing and having kids abused. That's just disgusting.
yeah, well, also too, he was speaking at schools. Okay, another thing, and also too, he was at Comet Ping Pong. They were talking. They did a performance talking about how he was just there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and that was it's a life choice. He has a life choice, Then
yeah. The band Heavy Breathing.
Right. Then his wife sued Subway, saying that they knew, and she had text messages and emails back and forth with him about his proclivities, and the lawsuit's been settled. You don't hear about it anymore.
Wow, yeah. I did not know about the Jared Fogle Heavy Breathing connection, but like when I talk about Pizzagate, that's one of the smoking guns there. Like I don't know about a kill room. I don't know. They did say in one report when he was interviewed, he said something about the basement, and then later after all this went on, he said there is no basement. But that doesn't mean that they had a kill room. But the fact that that was the kind of jokes that they were comfortable with putting on their corporate Instagram, they definitely attracted a certain crowd. It was a family-friendly pizza place that had paintings of child abuse, the same kind of stuff you find in the Podesta's collection, And I don't know what, I would never judge someone on, aesthetics. Says that you can't judge what's good or bad art, and but no, seriously, I'm going to judge you personally if you're going to spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to have pictures of nude or nearly nude children being tortured and hang that on your wall. No, I'm not judging your art choice. I'm judging you.
Well, Philip, just recently, just recently I was in Washington, D.C., and we just happened to be visiting a museum, and I have pictures of about 10 previously unpublished artworks by the Podestas, okay? Tony Podesta, not the other one.
Oh, yeah.
And it's on my Patreon for free.
Yeah.
You can go there for free on Patreon, and this isn't online. No one's seen these online before. I saw these in person. I just happened to stumble upon them. So there's that. And you're talking about the kill room, okay? I don't know if you know about this. Ryan O'Neal, okay, not the actor, but a guy named Ryan O'Neal has been on my show. He's the guy who found that kill room, the Pegasus Art Museum.
So the Pegasus thing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said.
Listen, wait a second. Wait a second.
Stuff going on, and
he located that Pegasus Art Museum. And Alefantis started contacting him on the phone and through emails threatening his life. He made an FBI report.
Oh yeah. I saw the the text or screen caps or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, no doubt, there's some funky business going on. That band Heavy Breathing made, regular references to pedophilia. They joked about it. Talking about like you said. Oh well, it's just a lifestyle choice or whatever the quote was in one of the more famous clips. But yeah, and James Alefantis, of course, is the former lover of David Brock, who was part of what the Clintons called the vast right-wing conspiracy out to get them, and then all of a sudden, he has this epiphany and decides to become the bulldog attack dog for the Clintons. With Media Matters. It's just, overnight that happened. Yeah.
Well, Philip, but before...
I do sometimes wonder, if somebody had something on his head.
Well, yeah, they settled their palimony suit real quickly, okay? But the thing is, too, is I had what happened was down here in Nevada. I'm not in Nevada anymore, but when I was in Nevada at the primary, the night before the Bernie-Hillary primary in Nevada, the caucus, Suddenly all the Bernie websites and like pages on Facebook and groups got shut down because someone was posting child pornography in these groups, and they all got reported and they all got shut down. Now, I interviewed the woman. I interviewed the woman who ran this group, and she brought up David Brock over and over. She says, we know it was David Brock. Then it went back to him. So, yeah.
You know, that it's dirty tricks, but you know that's the business that some of these folks that get to the top are in, the business of dirty tricks. Yeah, that's, you know, yeah. I mean, like I wish I could say I'm astounded by that.
Yeah.
But you know, when you spend enough time, like you know, whenever you have me on, I'm always talking about some stuff that sounds crazy and unbelievable. But no, I mean, like, you know, it's all this stuff is pretty verifiable from, you know, what most people consider credible sources. So, you know, what are you going to do? It's not my fault that, like I said, for some reason, you know, QAnon and the you know, what was that, Edgar Madison Welch, the Pizzagate shooter, all he hit was the bullet ran through a hard drive. A single bullet was shot, and it just happened to run through a hard drive. You know, I don't know. He was up for some other charges where it was like hit and run or something, and he'd run over a kid.
Oh, really?
Not sure if he was drunk or whatever, but, you know. So, yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't say, oh, well, that guy was put up to doing that to get out of something else, and they, you know, made him agree. But, I mean, you know, all things being equal, everything being possible, that's one possibility.
Phillip Fairbanks, we are out of time, okay? And I want to thank you for coming back. And I want to encourage everybody to purchase his book called Pedogate that's advertised on this show. You can go directly to Amazon if you want and buy it there. Also, too, we need to fly him back to the U.S. for cervical spinal surgery. So if you just Google, need to fly back to U.S. for cervical spinal surgery, Phil Fairbanks, it should come right up. His website is philipfairbanks.com. PhilFairbanks.com it is. Then it's philfairbanks.buzzsprout.com. That's where you can find the Plastic Screen podcast. The book is Pedogate Primer, and the GoFundMe you could find on my Facebook and on my Twitter. Phil, thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Good night.
Thanks as always. Have a good day.
God bless you. Hey guys, if you like the show and you want to show your support, check out the Opperman Report Patreon. You can go there and become a member for $3 a month. We have all the shows that you hear Monday through Friday on AM/FM radio. We have all those shows, but we cut out the ads, so you can hear that content ad-free. There's a $5 section where we put up all the old member section shows are going up over there. And then there's a $10 section where we have brand new content. 8 hours of exclusive content per month goes up there in the $10 section. But listen, I put up a lot of free stuff too. We put up documents, court documents, photographs, announcements. So you should make the Opperman Report Patreon a stop. You should stop there once a day and check out what's going on over there. That's Opperman Report Patreon. And now a word from our sponsors.
Before Epstein was the Franklin cover-up. Before that, the Finders. And long before that, the Cleveland street scandal. Pedogate Primer is a concise intro and overview of a growing child abuse epidemic worldwide. It features shocking instances of institutionalized and organizational pedophilia throughout history. Churches, cults, the world of arts and entertainment, the government, NGOs, charities, and major corporations are all complicit or culprits in many instances. Pedogate Primer delves into material that for many may seem like the stuff of conspiracy theories. For this reason, the book draws on academic resources, declassified documents, and other reliable sources, and steers clear of conjecture. Such shocking true stories need no embellishment.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. The Opperman Report is brought to you by aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119. Emailrevealer.com. People ask me all the time, hey Ed, are you still a private investigator? I sure am. Go to emailrevealer.com. We handle adoption investigations, infidelity investigations, where you give us your spouse's email address. We trace it back to online dating websites, catch them cheating online. Email tracing, locate or identify somebody from as little as an anonymous email address. Someone owe you money? Back child support? We can find that deadbeat, locate his hidden assets, locate his hidden bank accounts, find his current place of employment, and even assist you in obtaining a judgment and recover that judgment for you. Emailrevealer.com. Digital forensics, computer forensics, cell phone forensics, recover deleted text messages. Create a report that you can use in court. Emailrevealer.com, 800-572-9762.